In the early 1960s, Dutch businessman Alfred Freddy Heineken, grandson of the Heineken brewery's founder, found himself grappling with a surprising problem during his visits to the Dutch Antilles. These islands, now known as Aruba, Curaçao, and Sint Maarten, lacked the infrastructure necessary to manage the growing problem of waste, specifically empty beer bottles. A significant portion of these discarded bottles, much to Heineken's dismay, carried his family name. He was taken aback by the sheer volume. He recounted later that he could barely walk 15 feet on the beach without encountering broken glass or stepping on a discarded bottle. This experience sparked a growing unease within him. The pervasive presence of his company's product, not as a refreshing beverage, but as refuse blighting the beautiful landscape, troubled him deeply. His concern stemmed from two distinct yet interconnected issues. Firstly, the environmental impact of his product weighed heavily on his mind. During this period, glass bottles were designed for reuse, returned to the brewery, cleaned, and refilled numerous times. The lack of a proper collection and recycling system on the islands disrupted this cycle, leading to mountains of discarded glass and a significant waste of resources. Secondly, Heineken witnessed firsthand the hardships faced by the impoverished communities on these islands. Many lacked access to adequate housing and building materials. The contrast between the abundance of discarded bottles and the scarcity of essential resources was stark. It sparked a thought. What if these discarded bottles, so readily available, could be transformed into something useful, something that could address this very need? Driven by a desire to tackle both the environmental problem and the housing shortage, Heineken began to formulate a unique solution. An idea began to take shape in his mind, a brick that could also hold beer. He envisioned a bottle specifically designed for construction, one that could be interlocked with others, bound together with cement, and used to build homes. This seemingly simple yet revolutionary idea would become the genesis of the Heineken WOWO, short for World Bottle. Heineken, energized by this novel concept, returned from his trip determined to bring his vision to life. He understood that the traditional rounded Heineken bottle wouldn't suffice for his ambitious plan. It needed a radical redesign. He envisioned a bottle that could interlock seamlessly, forming a stable structure without complex joinery. He enlisted the help of Dutch architect N. John Haberken. Known for his innovative approach to modular building systems, proved to be the perfect collaborator for this unconventional project. Together, they developed the prototype for what would become known as the WOBO, short for World Bottle. The WOBO differed dramatically from the iconic green Heineken bottle. It was rectangular in shape, featuring two flat sides and two shorter, curved sides. Crucially, the neck of the WOBO was designed to fit snugly into the recessed base of another bottle, allowing them to interlock like building blocks. This ingenious design meant that the bottles themselves would form the structure, held together with cement mortar for added strength and stability. Two versions of the WOBO were created. One, a half-liter size intended for actual beer consumption, and another, a larger, non-returnable liter bottle designed solely for construction purposes. This larger version reduced the number of bottles needed for building and, consequently, the amount of cement required. It was a pragmatic approach that further emphasized the project's focus on efficiency and resourcefulness. With the WOBO design finalized, Heineken moved swiftly to test its practicality. A small test wall, 2 bottles thick, was constructed on the Heineken brewery grounds in Amsterdam. It proved the concept's viability. The interlocking bottles, secured with cement, formed a surprisingly sturdy structure. The success of this initial experiment spurred Heineken on. He was eager to see his vision realized on a larger scale in the very place where the idea first originated, the Caribbean. On the island of Curacao, a small shed was constructed using the Wobo bottles. This unassuming structure, measuring just 3 by 4 meters, served as the first real-world test of Heineken's vision. The shed's walls, built entirely from the interlocking litter-sized Wobos, stood as a testament to the bottle's potential as a legitimate building material. The choice of Curacao as the location for this pilot project was significant. It was here, amidst the discarded bottles on the beaches, that Heineken's idea had germinated. Building the shed on the island represented a tangible effort to address the very problem that had inspired him. It was a symbolic return, a way of giving back to the community that had unwittingly sparked this innovative endeavor. The Wobo shed stood up remarkably well to the harsh Caribbean climate. The inherent properties of glass, its resistance to moisture and rot, proved advantageous in the tropical environment. The thick, double-layered walls also offered excellent insulation, keeping the interior cool even under the intense Caribbean sun. The structure demonstrated that the Wobo wasn't merely a novelty. It was a functional, durable building material suited to the local conditions. Despite the success of the pilot project, the Wobo ultimately faced an insurmountable hurdle: economics. While the concept was ingenious and environmentally sound, it proved too costly to implement on a large scale. The production of the uniquely shaped Wobo bottles required specialized equipment and processes, adding significant expense compared to manufacturing standard round bottles. Furthermore, the construction industry, ever evolving and influenced by market forces, began to favor alternative building materials. Concrete blocks, readily available and increasingly affordable, emerged as a strong competitor. They were easier to produce, transport, and lay, offering a more practical solution for large-scale construction projects. In the face of these economic realities, Heineken ultimately made the difficult decision to abandon the Wobo project. The dream of building homes from beer bottles, while realized in a small, symbolic way, would not become the widespread solution Heineken had envisioned.